conseil d'administration à l'Assemblée générale annuelle 2022 du Santropol Roulant. Now, Tommy, you know, we get asked a lot, what kind of board are you guys? Are you more of a skateboard, snowboard, iron board kind of board, or are you just a bunch of board directors? A board of directors is a group of volunteers who work together to make sure the organization is well run and in healthy hands. 5 things that we look at is the mission. Is the Roulant aligned with the mission itself and its values? Governance, do we have the right rules in place for running the Roulant and electing the board of directors? Les finances, est-ce qu'on a un budget et des états financiers qui font du sens et qui sont sains? La stratégie, est-ce qu'on a un plan stratégique qui prend en compte ce que veut la communauté et qui est suivi et mis en œuvre? Finalement, la supervision, le CA a le rôle de faire la supervision du directeur exécutif.
En effet, puis au sein du conseil d'administration du Santropol Roulant, on a différents comités qui vont travailler plus spécifiquement sur différentes thématiques et ou sur différentes choses là, au sein du Santropol Roulant. Le premier, c'est les Scream Legal. Scream Legal, c'est le comité de finances du Santropol Roulant. On s'assure de la santé financière du roulant, on fait le suivi du budget qui a été approuvé et on s'assure aussi de développer dans le fond des projets qui tiennent la route au niveau des finances.
Next up are the Rocking Herons. The Herons are the HR Human Resource Committee of the Roulant. They look after the HR remuneration framework and they also do the supervision of the executive director.
And then next up are the Sage Sparrows. And the Sage Sparrows are it's the governance committee, and basically they're just making sure that we respect the bylaws and that we have that oversight on the governance of the organization.
En prochain, on a les Waddling Ducks. Les Waddling Ducks s'occupent des grands projets d'infrastructure au roulant, comme l'installation de l'ascenseur il y a quelques années, et d'autres grands projets d'infrastructure qui pourraient arriver dans le futur, par exemple, à la ferme.
Le prochain comité, c'est les Best Bird Ever. C'est le comité, dans le fond, qui s'assure de mettre en place là, des bonnes pratiques, des outils aussi pour qu'on puisse, en tant que membre du CA, répondre à nos missions.
The Visionary Puffins. The Visionary Puffins look at the strategic plan after its development, and currently the 2020-2023 plan, make sure we're implementing it well in collaboration with the executive director and the rest of the board.
And last but not least, a new committee that was put together last year is the Watchful Whip Poor Will. And it's basically a safer space committee to make sure that the Santropol Roulant becomes a place that's free of harassment and as inclusive as possible.
Now those are the committees, Tommy, but who is actually on this board?
Well, last year, like in 2021, we had 9 board members, and these board members were Alice, Henrietta, myself, Caitlin, Claire, Jenny, John, Lorenzo, and Tara.
I'm hearing we have some sad news though.
Yes, we are losing 2 of our board members. The first one is Andrew. Andrew was the treasurer on the board since 2018. He was on the Screaming Eagles committee, helped us put together and develop all sorts of strategies in regards to the finances at the Roulant. And I'm gonna miss him dearly because he was such an asset for the board.
And Caitlin is also leaving the board. She's been on the board since 2016. She's been secretary since then, keeping the minutes and us on record. She's been our lawyer on the Safer Spaces Committee, on the Governance Committee. Caitlin, it's been so great to have you, and I can't imagine how the board's going to run without you. We know you volunteered when you were a kid with the Roulant as well. We hope you'll continue being a part of this community, and we'll miss you. So what have we been up to in the last year though?
Les faits saillants de l'année passée, il y en a beaucoup. On s'est rencontrés 12 fois, donc 12 rencontres. 5 de ces rencontres-là avaient aussi des membres de l'équipe de travail pour travailler sur des dossiers spécifiques. On a travaillé beaucoup sur le suivi du budget, étant donné qu'on voulait s'assurer de respecter ce qu'on s'était donné comme objectif l'année d'avant au niveau du budget prévisionnel. Et aussi, on a commencé à mettre en place un nouveau système ou un nouveau outil financier pour le roulant. On a travaillé sur le suivi du plan stratégique parce que le plan stratégique continue et ça fait quand même partie de notre mission. On a développé, dans le fond, avec l'aide de l'équipe de travail puis des ressources humaines, la politique des ressources humaines du Santropol Roulant. Et finalement, on a renouvelé le bail de la ferme et on a commencé à faire la transition vers le modèle agro-éducatif de la ferme de Saint-Denis.
We've also been maintaining the JEDI process, Justice, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. The board started last year with an internal survey of the board looking at the matters for Santropol and the board itself, and it's an ongoing process that we'll have to keep looking into. We did the revisions of the bylaw to make sure they're up to date and follow best practices. Helped prepare the AGM last year, just as we're doing this year, working closely with staff in the executive direction. Managed some cases that came to the Safer Spaces Committee of conflict in the Roulant. And finally, there was a big discussion at the board level with the executive direction and staff in end of last year around how the Roulant positions itself politically. And you've seen a bit of that in the newsletter ever since. Now going forward, le CA, dans l'année qui vient, va travailler sur tout un tas de sujets en gardant en tête les 5 principes du CA. Donc on regarde la mission du Roulant, la gouvernance, on regarde la finance, le plan stratégique et puis on supervise la direction exécutive. On va appliquer à ces différents thèmes. Inflation et budget dans un contexte d'économie incertaine pour s'assurer que le Roulant garde un budget sain. Développer une politique d'inclusion et de protection en travaillant avec la direction des ressources humaines et continuer à travailler sur les questions d'inclusion au Roulant. The transition of the farm is moving towards an educational model over several years and the board will monitor that from a distance to make sure we're extracting all the right lessons from that transition. And finally, the terrace wall will be a reconstruction project in front of the Roulant, and again the Roulant will look, the board will look from a distance to make sure that goes well. Based on that, the skills that the board needs for the coming year, given also that we're losing our treasurer and our lawyer, are finance and accounting and legal skills, as well as people with experience in justice, equity, diversity and inclusion.
Et on va aussi avoir besoin de membres qui ont une certaine expertise au niveau des ressources humaines, des services de santé et services sociaux, et bien entendu en agriculture urbaine ou périurbaine, étant donné la transition de la ferme, comme Lorenzo l'a mentionné tantôt.
Now you get to vote on that, get us those great skills, pick amongst the great candidates, and thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Merci beaucoup, bonne soirée.